it time to double or even triple up on Crystal Palace players? This is my team selection for Game Week 8. Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are well and you've enjoyed the international break, but we're back in FPL mode and long may it continue. So look, in today's video, we're going to look at my team, but we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive on Crystal Palace and a couple of other clubs. But first, I'm going to show you the XG data from the season gone so far. And I think this is really good to take stock during the international break of who's putting up the good underlying numbers, who's creating the most chances and the most big chances. And actually, surprisingly, Man United, for all the stick we give them, are top of the XG ticker. They have had 3 penalties, though. Remember, a penalty is worth 0.78 XG. So there's a lot of XG there, nearly 2.5 from Man United penalties. But second in that list, Crystal Palace putting up really good numbers. And we're going to talk about Mateta and Sarr in a minute. Although Arsenal, loads looking to maybe sell Gyökeres, must be noted, their number 9, Gyökeres, who's getting all the minutes, that is playing for a team putting up good attacking numbers. And then, as you know, we're not surprised, Man City, Brighton, Chelsea, all there. Liverpool way down, though. And Liverpool, if you've got a Mo Salah, you're getting worried. You're spending a lot of money on a player that's not producing the goods. So look, the XG numbers are important. They're not absolutely everything. But Crystal Palace here, second in the XG. And that's phenomenal for me. Like a club like Crystal Palace with their small squad, the fact they're competing in Europe this season, they're still doing it in the Premier League. Quality all over the squad, and players who have had good international breaks. Like Mark Gahey, 2 assists versus Wales. We've seen Ismaila Sarr in the international break, 2 goals and an assist. We saw Pino for Spain get a goal. We saw Lerma get a goal. Mateta finally getting into the France team. He scores against Iceland. Like, Palace are flying at the minute. And guys, I'd love you, by the way, to hit that like. And please do subscribe. Hit the subscribe button as well. Drop a comment if you've got a question too. Thank you as always for the support, guys. So look, Crystal Palace in a really good place. The form's been brilliant. I do worry about them long term with a small squad in European football and not being able to rotate. But I'm not worried about that yet. Like, that's something for the second half of the season. Will they burn out? Right here, right now, they're in a great place. And some of their European games, I think we'll see quite a big rotation for the likes of Mateta. Like, Nketiah can come in and play. And with that in mind, I really like the look of Mateta. It must be noted, when we look at the individual player expected goals from all the forwards this season, Mateta ranks second. Now, Haaland is clearing away. This is all from Fantasy Football Scout members area. There's a link in the description if you want to know more from Scout. Haaland's had almost 8 expected goals and he scored 9. Mateta scored 2, but he should have scored over 4. Gyökeres has scored 3 from 3 XG. Chris Wood actually underachieving for once. But when we look at all of these names, Mateta second in the list. He's getting the expected, he's getting the chances, he's getting the minutes, and he's on penalties for Crystal Palace. Remember, there's no Eze anymore. And it really is a front 2 for Crystal Palace. When Eze was there, it was a front 3. We would often see Eze left, Sarr right, Mateta number 9. Now we see a front 2. It's Sarr and Mateta because Pino comes into the team, and Pino's an attacking midfielder, but he's often in quite deep central areas, getting on the ball, playing. He's a playmaker from deep. Pino is not taking up the Eze position. Now, it must be mentioned, this is from the average position map against Liverpool. And that game against Liverpool is really telling. And this is a great indicator as to why, this was back in Game Week 6, I'm saying now, get on Palace. Like, this game was enough to show me. They created a huge amount of chances against Liverpool. They created 4 XG more than 2 goals to 1 win. They scored at the very death in Nketiah to get the winner, but they were absolutely brilliant value for the win. Throughout that football match, they were dominant. Look at the XG plot from between the posts. It's all about Crystal Palace. And Liverpool, they don't get scored like this very often. Even this Liverpool team that aren't doing that well, they don't get scored very often. My team's coming up, guys. Stay tuned for that. With that in mind, I'm like, Crystal Palace, where do we go? So, of course, you want a Crystal Palace defender. Richards, Lequoir, Gahey, all brilliant for DEFCON. Lequoir the best, if you can go for goal threat too. But the fullbacks are where the huge value's at for me in terms of upside. Daniel Munoz would be my pick. I do have Chris Richards because he offers better value. But Daniel Munoz, if I was on wildcard, I'd probably go there. But can you go Sarr and Mateta? I don't see why not. It's a front 2 that puts up these sorts of XG numbers. I like it a lot. And Crystal Palace should be front of mind. And I've got a 3rd Palace spot available. And we're going to link this to my team in a minute. When we look at the fixtures for Palace, they're 4th in the scout ticker from difficulty on attacking teams. It's Bournemouth at home next. Then it's a tricky game in Game Week 11. They go to Arsenal. Game Week 9. It doesn't get much tougher than that. But then from 10, It's a home game versus Brentford, a home game versus Brighton, Wolves, home versus United, Burnley, Fulham. I could absolutely get on Mateta now. I could absolutely go Mateta here and now. Like, he's not going to get lots of 90s. He's going to get a lot of 70, 80-minute subs, I assume, with European football. But maybe that doesn't matter. I can see big returns. And Ismaila Sarr is an easy lock. Chris Richards is a lock for me at the moment. I would love a Daniel Munoz. I would love a Mateta. And it's very much front of mind. The only thing stopping me from getting Mateta this week is I own Gyökeres and I don't think I'm ready to sell. Gyökeres fixtures are even better. Fulham, Palace, but then it's Burnley and Sunderland. What a run of 4 games that is for Gyökeres. Havertz could be back sooner than originally planned, and I could be looking at Gyökeres out in 3-4 game weeks' time, especially when Havertz is back. That's when we'll see more rotation. So look, this is how I'm set up for game week 8. The big discussion points for this team right now are, do I buy Mateta for Gyökeres? I don't think I do. I don't think that happens. And what do I do with my bench? But let me run through my team first for those listening on podcast. And thank you to everyone that does listen on podcast. At the moment, I've got Dubravka in goal over Pope. I've got Richards, Gabriel, Mukiele in my starting 11, with Senesi and Kilman benched, both with good points potential on the bench there. Midfield, I've got Reinders with Saka. I'm so delighted to have Saka in place, Sarr, Semenyo. And then up front, we've got Gyökeres, Haaland, and Joao Pedro. Now, I'm going to pick out some players that are just long-term holds in this team in a minute. In fact, let's do that now, and then let's talk bench and dilemmas. But in terms of where I see this team moving to and evolving to, I've got 0.3 in the bank. I've got 1 free transfer. Is there a world I can get to a Munoz? Maybe, but not yet. Is there a world I can get to a Liverpool attacker? And do I need to get to a Liverpool attacker? Yes, but I just don't know which Liverpool attacker yet. Gakpo's on my mind. Isak's on my mind. And Gyökeres could become Isak in a few weeks' time, for example. But in terms of players that are vulnerable in this team, other than Gyökeres, I can't name a single player that's like, I'm looking to sell him in the next couple of weeks. Gyökeres is really vulnerable, but all the others feel like locks. I'm so happy to own Bukayo Saka. Let's just discuss a couple of these names. Saka, for me, is the midfielder you should be buying this game week. If you can get to Saka by selling a Bruno, for example, I would do it. I think Saka's a big upgrade. The Arsenal fixtures are there. He's looking brilliant. He looked great for England. He's fresh. He's had the rest he needs because of his injuries. He's going to be Arsenal's talisman. He's on pens. He's demanding penalties. We saw that. Last time out, he could have monster hauled. He had an XGI of like 1.9. Ismaila Sarr's the other one. We saw the average position map for Palace there. He's even better than Mateta, and he's cheaper. Sarr's going to match up Mateta for points this year, I think, and he's significantly cheaper. I think both are great. Sarr is better. Semenyo, we don't need to discuss. And Joao Pedro, guys. Why are you selling Joao Pedro? He's the second most sold player in the game this game week. Salah first, Joao Pedro second. I don't understand it. Joao Pedro is a fantastic pick with the fixtures Chelsea have got. Remember with Joao Pedro, the fixtures are there. Forest, Sunderland, Tottenham, Wolves, Burnley. Over the next 5, they're right at the top of the ticker. Over the next 10, they're middling. But the next 5, you want Chelsea attacker. Enzo's a great pick. Joao Pedro's a great pick. He's suspended in Europe. So he's definitely going to get Premier League minutes. Like, you don't have to worry about early subs. And he didn't play for Brazil. The fact he didn't play for Brazil means, again, he's well rested and we know he's been carrying a knock. So Joao Pedro is a fantastic pick. So is Enzo. Coin toss over which one's better. I would still go Joao Pedro marginally, and I'm happy I wildcarded him in. So look, that's how I'm set for game week 8. But the benching dilemmas are real. And I've got something that helps me with the benching dilemmas. So before I go on individual case-by-case basis, let me just tell you about the projected goals and projected clean sheets from Rob T. Now, if I'm ever in 2 minds, I love using these sorts of graphics. This is according to bookmakers' odds, and bookmakers are often right. And there's a lot of analytics that goes into this. So they think Liverpool will be the highest scorers of the game week. If you do own Salah, he's captainable this game week, sure. Haaland, though, the standout choice. Everton, it's a good enough fixture, and it's Haaland flying at the minute. He rested from Norway's second game against New Zealand. He got sent home early for a nice rest. Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs all rated to score over 1.5 goals. And then it's quite a low scoring game week. And with that, there's quite a lot of high clean sheet odds this week. City and Arsenal fancied for clean sheets the most. Then it's Sunderland, Leeds, Wolves, some unfashionable teams there with high rates of chances of clean sheets. Worth noting, teams like Bournemouth, Senesi, 23% likely of a clean sheet. Everyone expects Palace to score at Selhurst Park. I do too. So when we're looking at benching dilemmas, I like to use these graphics. So who's more likely to keep a clean sheet? Let's do defenders. Let's do goalkeeper first. Dubravka or Pope? I go to my trusted graphic, and I don't swear by this. And often I go against analytics, but when it's tight, I'll sometimes go against it. But Dubravka plays Burnley with a 27% chance of a clean sheet, and he's playing at home. I like my players playing at home. Dubravka kept a clean sheet for me on bench boost in game week 2 when he played Sunderland, another newly promoted team at Turf Moor. He kept a clean. I think he can keep a clean against Leeds. Dubravka at 27, Nick Pope, Newcastle at 24. That's a coin toss. I don't really care. 24, 27, I'm not going to let that influence me. I'm going Dubravka regardless of those numbers. Dubravka happens to have slightly better numbers anyway. I also like the fact that Leeds' striker Calvert-Lewin is one of the the worst XG underperformer, I think, in the league this season. And no, that's Mateta. Sorry. He's one of the biggest XG underperformers, Calvert-Lewin, and he'll hit the keeper a lot. And there'll be a lot of saves for Dubravka because he's not very good at hitting the corner. He's not very good at scoring the goals, right? So, yeah, I'm going Dubravka. The back is where it gets tricky. Gabriel is a lock. Of course, I'm picking Gabriel. And guys, Mukiele's a lock. Sunderland are 36% likely to keep a clean sheet. They're the third highest team this week, and he's a DEFCON beast. He's as good at DEFCON as a Tarkowski and Senesi and Anderson. There's little between them. Mukiele's that good. I'm hoping Alderete's fit because that's a centre-back partnership, but worst case scenario, they've got options on the bench. They've got a very good option at centre-back, Sunderland, if Alderete's out. Ballard will come in. So Gabriel and Mukiele are locked, but it could be Richards, it could be Senesi, or it could be both. Now, Senesi and Richards play each other. This is a case of backing the home team. I do think Senesi gets DEFCON against Palace, but I think Richards gets DEFCON against Bournemouth, who go back to front very quickly. Again, Palace fancied for the clean sheet 29% versus Bournemouth 23%. Not much in it. Kilman at West Ham 27%. I don't think I'm going Kilman. I fancy Brentford to score. Then we have the midfield, which is locked. For Sarr, it's locked for Semenyo, and it's locked for Saka. But I'm not locked on Reinders. It could be Minter, it could be Reinders. But in terms of goal projections, City fancied to score over 2 goals. Brighton, we know Newcastle are a very good defence, 1.42 for Brighton. Minter's been incredible, and I'm really lucky. I think I've got him early, and I think he's going to be good for points. I just don't think he starts for me this week. I benched Reinders last time out. I could bench him again for Minter, but at the moment, it's Reinders in my 11. And then, could I bench a Gyökeres or a Reinders to get a Senesi or Minter in my team? Maybe, but benching a Gyökeres, what's the point in owning a 9 million forward if you're not going to start him? So at the moment, I think I bench Gyökeres. I think I start Gyökeres, sorry. And I think the benching spots, the ones that could come out are Richards, Reinders, Senesi, Minter. It's play 2. Play 2 from 4. Let me know in the comments who you would play out of those 4. Have I got it right on Richards and Reinders? Or would you be playing Senesi and Minter over them? Thank you for your comments as always, guys. I'll be back with another video very soon. Like and subscribe on the way out, and I'll see you in the next.